Good evening. Okay, so these are what I was going to show in the other video, but I was like, I should just make that its own video. Okay, so I showed how I assemble these, and oh my gosh, I did a terrible job with this one. Yeah, this one's not very straight. Generally, I try to get them as close to straight as possible. So I make a bunch of these, and I line them up in rows of 3 because a 3 makes one flower. So you have your top part, which would be this part. Then you have this in the middle, which makes the hole in the middle. So what I end up usually doing, but I almost think it's too much, is here, I'll use my thing, is I cut here to here to here and to here. So I cut this whole little line right here out. So I have, so that it looks just like, oh my goodness, like that. Okay, so you have this. Oh, I said it would be the top, but let's go ahead and make that the bottom. Okay, so this would be the bottom, which would be, just like that. And then you have your middle missing from right here, and you have your little 2 sides, so let's pretend the middle isn't there, okay? And then you just set it on top. So then the middle would be gone. So now that becomes your bead groove, your hole groove. You can make these as small as you would like or as big as you'd like. So if you want to make the hole smaller than this, just cut this, somewhere along in here. It gets hard to cut it. That's why I generally just go ahead and cut out the whole thing there. So it makes that big hole, although that is pretty darn big. You could just make it a lot thinner here, and now that I have a cutting mat, I can actually start using, I should buy some X-Acto knives or, cutting knife, better. This is the one my husband bought, and I don't like the feel of it in my hand. This knife here, and you untwist here, and then the blade comes out here. And it's okay, but I would much rather have one that's round, but, the round metal one that, you can get the caps for. And if you're more comfortable with that method, you can always put it on your mat and line up your ruler and just cut. I might try that now that I have a nice thing, and but you will be left with, part of, so if you want to make your hole smaller, that's basically what you would do. All right, so let's pretend that there's that hole there now. So then you have your top that you would, of course, line up on the top, and, well, okay, let's at least try to make them straight. It's hard to do one-handed. Well, anyway, you just have to use your imagination, because there we go. I guess I got it. All right, so that's how thick the bead will end up being. But all right, let's go back to, all right, we have our bottom, and then our middle with our fake middle, but we'll just leave the middle out for now. No, let's go ahead and put it on here. So then, imagine your middle is gone where you want your hole to be. So you glue these 2 parts together, the bottom one and then your 2 sides. And then you pick what colors you want to color it. So like on this one, I colored these are terribly, anyway, so I colored the outside of this red, and then I colored this part pink, and then I did the middle, a different, what did I color it? Oh, I colored it with the green. Now that I didn't have as many colors for paint as I do now, so now I can actually go in and actually color this better. So I'll probably go in with whatever color I decide to make these lines. I'm going to just go like this with the paintbrush, and then cover the middle part up with this dot. It'll look different. So, but you could go ahead and do whatever you want. You can make every petal a different color. It does not matter. If you want to do something like that, go ahead and do that. But anyway, so then to get the color inside here, you know, inside here. You can't really tell, but it is red in there. So you would color inside here, this channel, you would color that whatever color you were putting around the outside, plus you have to put it on the top part. All right, let's keep all of these the same. So like that. So remember, this part right here is where your channel is, where the hole is, whoops, where the hole is for the bead, right? Where you would stick your thread through. All right, so you got that, and then you have to do that over on this side before you stick them together, and then you let them dry. And you can either wait until these are fully glued together to paint the outside, or you can do it in this, you know, where you have, in this part right here, you don't need to color this inside, like here and here, where this part, these two here will connect with this on the other side, of course. Or, well, since you'd paint here, then it would be right here, here, and here. You don't need to paint there, because that's where your glue is going to go. So, yeah, hopefully that explains a little bit of how I do these. Of course, I will work on these more later on. And like I said, you can paint these in any color, color orders you want. But it does take a lot of, and these are all, this is just chipboard. This is packaging stuff from cereal boxes, packaging boxes, just about anything you can think of. But the general idea is you want to work in increments of 3 once you have your base parts connected. And this was, how many? I wasn't counting. This one looks like it's 3 or 4. 4. It looks like 4 layers. Sometimes it's different because, like, some of these are thin pieces of paper. They're not as thick a paper as, like, you know, oh my goodness, I can't even speak today. It's not as thick as like a cereal box. Some of the things that I was given by a friend of mine, I finally have gone and stamped a bunch, or punched out a bunch of things with her stuff. But some of the ones she gave me were, you know, thinner material, so you just have to keep that in mind when you're making these. I mean, you're not a robot, so you're never going to be the same. I guess if you were really desperate, you could make them all the same, but in the end, it quite honestly doesn't matter. As long as you get close to the thinness, you know, you want them about that thick, so you don't want them overly thick. Yeah, generally, I think it's 4 pieces or 3 pieces. It's your call. It's your art. You can do whatever you want. So anyway, that's how I generally will do these paper bead flowers with the chipboard. So yeah, I look forward to finishing. I'm going to do more of these. I got kind of tired of, you can only do so much where you know, after a while, and it was the weekend and I wanted to do other things or whatever anyway. So, well, it wasn't really the weekend, but when my kids are home, I don't have a lot of time to sit here and, you know, do stuff. Although I have teenagers, so I can just sit here and do this and they will leave me alone. Like if I'm videoing and one of my kids comes out here, they'll be quiet and let me finish. But it's a general rule that I like to do my videoing during the day. And yeah, but anyway, I'm probably not going to work on this right now. I'm probably going to work on cutting up some of these. Of course, I have to straighten up, I have to sure up my corners here because it is beveled. I don't know what you would call that. It is curved, so I do need to do that, and I have 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 in this color, just this one. So that's what I'll probably work on next. And I can cut 2, or no, I can cut 3 of them. What? There's a line in this one. What? See that? There's somebody's line, like somebody cut the box open and went. Anyway, all right. So So I hope I explained a little bit better. Like I said, I will make video as I go along on this process, but this is just, you know, how I do it for now. And okay, I hope I was informative. All right, bye.